Bart Allen here, chatting with actor Jennie Pierson. I'm excited. This just goes to show you how things work because I know who you are and I've seen you in a million things. Powerless. I mean, the list goes on and on. But you showed up in my, I think, Instagram or TikTok feed.
Huh.
Just randomly. You had done an interview, I think last year, and you were talking about actors who work and then have to go back to their day jobs while they're working. And
Oh my gosh. I think I did that podcast like
the box, I think.
6 years ago,
Yeah. So,
like a
and then I
while.
started
Yeah.
researching and going, okay, I have to talk to her. So thank you for your time.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Thank you for having me. It's so fun and nice of you to want to speak to me.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, like I said, I've been a fan of your work for a long time. And I was just every so often I go online and I just start looking and whatever comes across my radar, I'm like, this person would be really cool to talk to. So again, we were talking, if you're listening and watching before we started recording, you're from the Bay Area. You're born and raised.
Yeah. Born and raised San Jose, California.
So when did you make the trek to LA?
I moved here in 2005. So, oh God, I'm terrible at math. So that means I've been here for over 15 years. 18? Is that, did I do the
Roughly,
adding?
yeah. I'm terrible at math too. I'm not very good at it.
This is why
So
we are actors.
yeah, that's why. Yeah, I was gonna say, not trying to solve the world's problems. Now,
Exactly.
did you come to LA with was the idea this standard story? You packed up your car to move to pursue a career. Were you doing things when you were in the Bay Area? Because I know there's a pretty robust film community out that way, and they do things there too.
Yeah, I guess when I after I graduated college, I lived at home in San Jose for about a year, just smoking a lot of pot and thinking about what I wanted to do. And I guess it was kind of either San Francisco, which there's such a robust theater community and improv and stuff, or New York, which would be like a theater kind of dream, or LA. And I decided on LA because I wanted to do improv
Okay.
was sort of the purpose for me coming out here. I had seen a few shows at Improv Olympic
Okay.
in when I was in college and visiting older friends who lived in LA, and it just was like I want to do that. So that is why I came here.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because I had posted on my Facebook that we were going to be talking and have a friend who is from San Francisco who lives in LA, Leon Accord. He's an actor and if he's done a bunch of things, but he knew who you were because he's
Oh,
he's a Bay Area native as well
oh,
and knew you
funny.
from Powerless. That is the correct name of that show, right? I'm not butchering.
Yeah,
Okay. So we'll
yeah.
talk about that later, but because it's a bigger part of your story, which I find again just so interesting. So you make it to LA to do improv. Now you did Groundlings, right? That was,
I
or did you
did
do the UCB?
I did Improv Olympic.
Okay.
UCB wasn't here yet when I
Okay.
got here. Improv Olympic, it was kind of IO or Groundlings, and I had seen. I was interested in trying long form improv, which
Okay.
is what Improv Olympic taught, and what the performers were doing there, and it just seemed very like cool and funny, and that's what I just wanted to perform there.
That's very cool. Matt Walsh, I think, was part of starting UCB. So that's very cool. So you're doing this, and are you meeting people who are in the business already? Like, what was sort of, I shouldn't say sort of, what, so you're doing this, you're getting to do now what you came to LA for. When did you first start booking things? Was it pretty immediately?
Oh gosh. Wow, you're really taking me back on a journey through my time in LA. It feels like it's been a while. I was in my early 20s when I came here, and so I kind of had these like I made these kind of like little like ultimately I wanted to be on TV. Like I
Okay.
wanted to be on a sitcom. Like that was like my
That was
ultimate
the
like
dream. Like,
eventual dream. Yeah, like goal. But whoever would know how to do that, when you're young and you first move here, and it seems like that's impossible. So I just started making kind of like small steps. Like I do take improv class, and I wanted to get on a Herald team, which are the sort of main stage teams at Improv Olympic. The Herald is a form of long form improv. Which, well, I mean, you're really making me dig deep
I
into
hope
the
that's
memory
okay. I
banks.
don't. Well, it's interesting because Steve AG, I think is how you pronounce his. He talked about something very similar in an interview.
Oh, I know Steve. Yeah,
Yeah, we've tried to get him on the show, but he's just a very busy individual.
of course.
I'm good friends with his publicist, and she's like, "Keep asking. I'll probably say no, but keep asking."
Yes, I worked on a web series with Steve years ago for Rich Fulcher. Do you know him?
Yes, yes.
He's a very hilarious comedian, and they were good friends, I think, for years. Anyway, sidebar.
No, that's okay. Well, that's why I wanted to have you on, and I talk to other people because oftentimes when I'm doing these, we're promoting something or we're talking about something, and those are fun conversations too. But when I get a chance to talk to an actor like yourself or improv, whatever, I find your story so fascinating because it's not like what most people would be familiar with. And I think you said it in one of your interviews. It's like you get to LA and you see all these people doing things, but you don't know how they're making money.
Yeah.
There's no like secret sauce to it. You just don't know, but they're doing things like you said, they're buying cars, they're going out to dinner, they're having sushi on Rodeo Drive. But it's
Yeah.
like, how do these people make money? It's the same thing with podcasting. It's interesting. There's a lot of parallels. I mean, you just don't know. And that's why I ask these questions, because I think my audience really finds it fascinating when even comedians, comics, whatever, because it's like, I see you on TV, I see you in a movie, and people assume automatically that you're just like living this luxurious life, but really you're struggling, you're working. I was reading somewhere like 5% of people who are part of SAG in the entire industry are actually working full time. And now that sounds crazy because you think 5% isn't much, but 5% of a very large pool that you're a part of. And then everybody else has to go to a day job, right? And
Yes.
like pay the bills because the landlord wants their rent or their mortgage. And just because you're on a series or a regular, I mean, it could not be that much money, right? So
That's exactly right. It's still a mystery to me, even though I've been working in this business for a while.
really, so after all this time and all the success that I feel that you've had, and I think a million other people would say so as well, because the sheer amount of people that come to LA every day to try and quote unquote make it, and then never see the light of day of a television, or what if
It's
they came
difficult.
during
Yeah.
COVID, it would even be
Yeah.
worse because it's like
Right.
now the whole industry is just completely shut down. That's so cool. I love
Right.
it. So you're doing this, you're starting to take small steps, and then you start booking things, and then
Well,
I
it's
don't.
it's kind of like you say, like it's not this straight line, where you go from point A to point B and then you're successful and then you did it and then you're done. I feel like I'm still surprised, even my friends or people I know who I think of as, oh, you did it, you're done, you're successful. They don't feel that way. There's kind of like never a point where you feel like I did it and I'm done. There's always like a next thing or a thing you didn't get that you wanted or another thing. And I mean, that is so kind of you to say to me that you feel that I've been successful, because I'm in a sort of down point of the coaster right now where I feel like where's the work? I need work. It's getting kind of stressful. The business is changing a lot post COVID and with
Yeah.
streaming, and it's like just when you think you have kind of like a foothold, it changes. And so it's like it's interesting to think about, oh yes, I did this and this, and I've worked with so many people, and time just goes by. And now I'm in a place where I am now where I feel a little bit more unsteady, but I've been in a place before where I felt very steady and very successful and kind of excited about the work I was doing. And now I have to kind of figure out what that next phase will be. Like you were talking about podcasts, reminding of that. And like I unknowingly, and this is, I guess, one of those examples where you kind of come to LA, you start doing something, you don't really know where it's going to take you. Like I
Right.
ended up in the world of internet comedy back in the day when that was kind of like, if you have heard of Super Deluxe or
Oh
Funny or
yeah.
Die or College Humor, those now feel like kind of like retro
A little bit, yeah, but it's
artifact.
interesting on that topic, and we're probably going to jump around a lot. So I apologize
Apologies.
for my ADHD.
Me too.
So it's interesting that you say that the Funny or Die thing. I think that's Will Ferrell's thing, and then College Humor. It does, but now it seems like with the age of TikTok now has become such a thing, or Instagram. It's like now some people would say those individuals are perhaps maybe jumping the line a little bit, passing the velvet rope without putting in. I don't know if that's true, but you have these. It's just the world. You mentioned streaming too. That's where my brain went. It's like it's just a whole nother world now where people can be discovered or can start. You know what I mean? And I think that
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I say success to you, because I've seen your work, I've seen your films, your TV shows, all the things that you've done. You came out to LA and made the trek, and you earned that spot, I feel, of like what I would define as success, being on a big television
Mm.
show or starring in a film. And but then you have the struggles and the accoutrements of maybe going back to a day job or doing whatever it is you have to do while you're going to auditions and doing things. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty
Absolutely.
admirable.
Yeah. You're so right. Like, yeah, when I moved here, I had that at the top of the list in bold, like, be a regular on a TV show. And
And
then,
you
like,
achieved it, which I
I
think
did
is
it.
cool. Yeah.
I think that's cool too. And then you have to do it again.
Yeah. Show me what have you done for me lately, right? Like,
Yeah. Like it's like, oh yeah. Oh, and now that gets canceled or something, like it's not this end all be all thing. Sometimes it is. There's so many different stories out here of different types of work and success. And um you're right. The internet created, I guess, like a lot of a wider range of opportunity for people to be creative in different ways.
yeah. But the other struggle with that too is like, how do you get your content recognized? Or but I love the fact that you like manifested that in a way where you put it on a list and then you come out and do it. So my question is, you get there and you book, you've done other things, and then you get Powerless. That was like a big primetime show.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, and again, I'm just referencing another conversation that you had, so please correct me if I'm wrong. So you're doing it, you didn't know that you were going to be a series regular when you started, right? Like it was just a couple episodes.
Yeah. It started as like 2 or 3 episodes, I think, recurring guest star. And then they kind of just kept adding me into the episodes, and I was in every episode. And by the end I had like, the A storyline or bigger storylines. And it felt I kind of became like a regular on the show. Um, Ultimately, which was, yeah, like pretty awesome.
Yeah. Did that show get to finish out its season? I'm trying to remember because I think it went away and then they released an episode, I think, with Adam
Oh,
West. That was like the last episode because he had died right around the time that show
oh, that's right. Oh my gosh.
had.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I can't remember exactly, but I think you're right. It sort of got canceled, but then we ended up being able to add because we had filmed 10, I think, and maybe only 8 aired, but then later they aired the
I
maybe
think
they
Hulu picked it
later
up.
aired the last 2, or they put it on streaming or something because
Yeah,
of
I
Adam
think
West. Yeah.
that was such a great show. It was so fun and
Oh, thank
funny.
you. It was so fun. It was the highlight of my career, not only because of what it looks like on the resume, but also it was the most fun I've ever had on any set, on any show. The cast was so talented and so fun, and we all liked each other a lot. There was no drama. Nobody had egos. Like, it was just an incredible experience. I think about it a lot. It was really like the height of experience wise. Like, it was so wonderful.
Yeah, what an accomplishment. So you get that. That's like the pinnacle of where you're at. And then you get news that everything is coming to a halt. What do you
And
do?
then
Like, you're
it
like,
told.
okay, well, I guess it's back to the literal drawing board of auditioning.
Well, you go to Disneyland, you get you start getting really high a lot.
I love it.
You get really sad. You go, oh, well, I'm going to get something like immediately now, because of this great thing on my resume. And you just go back. You just sort of go, you go back to the drawing board. But also, during filming, because I think we filmed for many months because there was like holidays during the time. I think we filmed over like November and December. So there was a lot of like time off and holidays and stuff. So it was like maybe 4 or 5 months of filming total. So I was like auditioning for other things, while that was going on too. You're kind of constantly auditioning. You're hope and thankful I was also filming something at the same time, but you're always like looking for what is coming next, even when you're already doing something. It kind
Now,
of
at this
doesn't stop.
point, you're now in LA, you're doing this. Are you still working a day job in 8 to 5, or do you get to a place where you're like, okay, I can maybe quit that and
I
then
I think
sort
I
of rely
quit.
on the income?
I had a day job for many years. Like
An
I was
advertising agency, right?
yeah, I was working at an advertising agency for many years. And I think when I got Powerless, I can't remember if I don't know if I quit or I was just like, "Hey, I'm going to go shoot this. Bye." And they were like, "Okay." And I can't remember then if after, because I think I didn't have a day job for like a year after that, shooting that, uh, because I was lucky enough to not need it at that time. Um, I honestly can't remember. I think they might have thought I was coming back, and I was like, so they were. I think maybe when I was done filming, somebody was like, "Okay, so what day, what time are you coming back?" And I was like, "Oh,
You're like,
no, I'm not."
are you going to be
But then
back on Monday?
yeah, and I was like,
That's funny.
"Oh no, I'm done. I'm done now forever." But then I ended up going back to it like a year and a half or two later, because I just didn't get the work that I thought I would have hoped to have gotten. I went back for a little while and then ultimately quit again. It's kind of just a constant, like, if I need a day job, I get one, or I'm lucky enough to find one, and then if I feel financially stable enough, I'll quit it until I need it again. Like, it's kind of just a constant back and forth, which I wish didn't need to happen. I wish I could just like the dream now, probably, honestly, with how the industry looks like it's headed, with projects getting less budgets, there's just less money to go around now,
Right.
um all over the place. Kind of the ideally, and I might be too old for this, but would be to have like a sideline kind of a career, or something else that I enjoyed doing as well, that could be a little bit more stable and make me some money in the down times where I'm not booking. and then also have acting and the entertainment industry be on the side, like both equal things. That I think as I get older and more tired would be ideal.
Yeah.
But I didn't used to feel that way. I was just like all or nothing. We're acting, we're doing it.
Well,
And
like
I'll
you said,
piece
the
together
industry's
whatever I can.
changed quite a bit. Like it's not like it once was.
Yeah, it feels like it changed really quickly, all of a sudden, like under the cover of night.
Very mysterious, like Batman, just kind of like coming
Yeah.
in and things changing. Well, I again, from my perspective, and I'm really nobody, but I do think that's how I would measure success. Because then after that, you do other things. You book the Mike and Dave, is that the title? Wedding Dates film, and you do that, and
Oh
then
yeah. I think I did that. I can't remember the timelines, but that was a while back. That was maybe like 10 years ago, I think. I can't remember.
that's okay. I'm putting your memory to the test. So
Yeah.
now you're doing things. You're still going out on auditions. Are you still doing improv? What keeps you busy these days creatively?
Well, I'm currently in a place of trying to figure out what my perform kind of creative life is, because we just came out of a pandemic of 3 years of being at home. And I didn't have any creative life during that time. But right beforehand, I'd been doing a lot of sketch and live performing, and doing some writing and making videos and kind of fun creative stuff. And then that stopped for 3 years, and things changed. And I'm in this place now of like, okay, what do I want? What do I want to do? Because I got, during those 3 years, you were the only creative outlet was auditioning, really, or so you're so focused on the job and getting the job, and that doesn't always feel fun and creative. And because you're going, what do they need? What do you want? What do I have to do? And I'm now like really hungry for just fun, free creativity with no stakes, no job to get, no rejection waiting for me at the end. Just why I moved here, which is creativity and performing. And so I haven't done improv in probably 10 years, but I've done a show now, and I want to do some more of that and maybe do some more sketch. I've been kind of experimenting with performing different things. And theater, there's new theaters now, and some are closed, and the UCB is like under new ownership. It's totally different now. And so the whole landscape is completely changed. So I guess that is something I never had considered. Well, I guess none of us think a pandemic is coming. So
No, nobody literally thought that was coming. Like you
literally
couldn't.
nobody.
Yeah, like when that can bring everybody from the top to the bottom to their literal knees.
Yeah.
Like when Taylor Swift is stressing about finances, like stuff's getting real. You know what I'm saying? Like, or multi-million dollar earning comedians are selling their homes because they don't think they're ever going to make another dime. Like that's, shit, pardon my language, my 8-year-old's on the other side is getting real. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. And literally everybody is on an equal playing field. It's crazy. The benefit for my show is that everybody was home. So we were able to get some
Right.
really fun people on our show because they had nothing to do with their days. So they're like, sure, why not?
Yes,
I have nothing else to do.
absolutely. It seems
Well,
like podcasts became such a
oh, it's
huge
crazy. It
draw.
was like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do? Am I gonna start a podcast? Am I gonna write a
Hmm.
book?
Hmm.
Um,
Something you can do solo on Zoom, that you don't need other people to be around.
yeah, it's crazy. And some of them still are around and some of them fizzled out, which I could see because, now they're back to work again on their shows and things are different. Very cool life that you've led, and you've achieved, I feel like, a lot of the goals that you set out to do, getting the series, booking films. Do you get solicited for advice by new folks that come out to the area and you just happen to run into maybe they recognize you from something they've done or that you've worked with in the past, and they ask you, hey, what advice do you have for me, if any at all? I don't know.
Not really. I have, some like family friends,
Okay.
kid, is moving out here after college, and I've had like a couple of coffees, especially if they're interested in comedy or improv, because that's my niche, kind of thing. But it's not like, I mean, I'm at Starbucks and somebody's like, oh my God. It doesn't happen as much anymore as it used to. Maybe partly because sometimes there's masks and sometimes I don't recognize even my people that I know.
That's funny.
But no, I feel that I'm not a very good advice giver. Like, partly because I think it's just so different. Everybody has such a different experience and goal and, thing that they're looking to do. I can't make sense of my own life, so I don't know how I could make sense of anybody else's.
You're like, I'm not the person to ask.
I feel that I'm not. Maybe for like logistics, like what specific questions about what type of improv you're interested in, or what theater is you know are you looking to go to, or what kind of thing are you interested in, and we can kind of like try to figure it out. But um advice, I don't know. I'm bad at it.
That's okay. Well, going back to the beginning of your journey, where was the appeal initially? Was it when you were younger? Did your family, your parents expose you to different things? Was it a television show? Was it a movie that sparked your interest in getting you to where you were, leaving the Bay Area and going to LA to really pursue this?
Oh, like, I mean, I don't know. I was in theater like since I was little. It's just
Okay.
something I always wanted to do. I don't recall that there was one thing I saw or that I went, I want to do that. My memory is I just always did it. Like, I wasn't interested in sports. I was interested in theater. I just always really enjoyed it. And making people laugh. When I figured out I could do that, that became an obsessive goal. Then that became the only thing I wanted to do.
And you
But
did it and are still doing it, which I think is so cool
thank
because
you.
absolutely. Well, I'm excited. I know you've got a lot going on and you're figuring things out, but I think it will be fun to see where this takes you next, because this world that you're in, as I said at the beginning, I feel is just so different than anything anybody else could do. You know
Yeah.
what I
Are
mean?
you're an actor as well?
I mean, I've done things in the past. I did background work when I lived in New Mexico. I did this, that, and the other. I've dabbled in things
Mm,
here and there, but
yeah.
podcasting is really where
Huh.
I feel the most comfortable. And
Oh,
so that's why I
just
do what I do. I've always found your world so fascinating, run into people here and there, and here we are. I've been very
mhm.
fortunate to talk to some amazing people, present company included, again, because I've just seen your work on television, but I think it's just so fun and fascinating.
That's
It's
so cool.
just
I mean, it's such a testament. You just reached out and we're like, hey, do you want to do this? And it's like, yeah, why not? Like, I'll take any opportunity to talk about myself, which
I
maybe you
think,
found with other people.
yeah, I mean, the most interesting person we know in our lives are ourselves. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yes. It feels like this inaccessible world, because
It
you see it
really
on
does.
TV or something and it's this like weird thing, but it's not. Like, you just reached out to me on Instagram and I was like, sure.
Well, I'm
Why
glad
not?
you did, because I don't know how current your IMDb information is, because I have worked with the person that used to be your manager. I don't know if they still are your manager. So you just kind of take a shot either way and go, well, I'll send her a message or him a message and see what they say. If they want to go this route or that route. That's very cool. And then here we are. And I'm glad you wanted to do it because, again, you know, having looked at your filmography, what you've done, all of it, I think is just really cool. And
Wow, thank you. That's really kind of you.
it's very true. And I mean, you've made it this far, as they say. I'm sure other things will come about. It's just that daily process of trying to figure out what to do next.
That's
And that is
exactly
the
it.
world of being a creative and a storyteller in a nutshell, basically, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just kind of somebody once said to me, it's just about staying. It's just about you stay and you keep doing it. If it's what you really love to do. I mean, that's kind of, I think a lot of people I know have had to grapple with that question of um, do we want to keep doing this? What's keeping us here? And you just have to go, do I still really love it? And if the answer is yes, then you just stay and you just continue.
I love it. That's a great way to
Yeah.
wrap our conversation. I think somebody, I've heard it said before, if you can think of doing anything else, then do
Then
that,
do it. Absolutely.
because otherwise you're going to have a really hard time sustaining yourself in this business, because it can be a very cruel, fickle person if you don't have the thick skin to make it. Because
Absolutely.
especially, I mean, I would say it's an assumption, but some people who would maybe reach your peak as you described it on that television show, that could be the end of them. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, I did it and I guess it's over now, but you just keep grinding. And I, to me, that's how I measure success. If you can manifest something or write it down, you get there, you do it. I mean, hey, you left beautiful San Jose to pursue your
I
dreams.
know. And the Bay Area is the
Do you ever
best.
make it back there? One last question. I know it's been a long day for you, but do you ever make it back to the Bay at all, or
Um,
is that part of
I
your life
don't
that's
I don't really
over?
have family there anymore, so no. Well, a bunch of my best friends live in the Bay Area. Like I have a friend in San Mateo and one in San Jose. And I try to go up there. I used to try to go up there like once a year to see like my best childhood friends. And that's always like really great. Like I just went finally after, COVID, I finally got up there last year. We went to see the Dave Matthews Band at Shoreline.
Oh, wow.
And it was so fun. It was such a blast from the past. But he didn't play enough classics. My only complaint. I
Yeah. I
don't want
think
to hear
when
new stuff.
I know, it's like we want to hear the soundtrack of our life. That's why Kiss, I don't know if you knew this, they've said in multiple interviews, that's why they don't write new music and they don't put out new albums, because people know them for
Yeah,
X, Y, and Z, and they have been a part of somebody's life at some point. They're like, nobody wants to come hear us bust out some new tunes. They want to hear, I want to
totally.
rock and roll, or whatever the case might be. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. This has been so fun. And like, it's scratched an itch that I've had, because again, I've seen you pop up here and there. And I was like, the timing's always what it's supposed to be. That's why I sent you a message. So thanks for responding graciously.
No problem. Thanks for having me and chatting. So fun to meet people who live in other states.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
You too.